Guys, I'm absolutely shook right now. The truth was in our face the whole time. I don't know what came over me today. Something just told me to read the Bible. And so I did. I started from the beginning, Genesis. So, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Before I continue, the key part that you need to take away from everything that I'm saying right now is that the Bible is referring to this being as God. And God said, "Let there be light." And God saw the light. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And God called the firmament heaven. And if you just keep reading, it says, "And God said, and God called, and God said, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So this is telling you everything God did. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made. He ended it, and he rested on the seventh day. But when you get down to this part of Genesis, it is literally describing another creation story separate from God. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Y'all saw me reading before, and it never mentioned Lord. It said straight up God. Now all of a sudden, it wants to talk about the Lord. This Lord is not God. This is the Lord's creation story. The Lord formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. The etymology of the word soul, when you scroll down, it means coming from or belonging to the sea. That is why this realm is governed by maritime law. A soul and a spirit are not the same thing. God created the spirit, and the Lord created the soul. In essence, the soul is about the individual's inner life and experiences in the material world, while the spirit is about the connection to something beyond the material, often understood as divine or supernatural. As you can see, the etymology of the word soul means alone in its kind, one and only. God created men and women in his likeness. The Lord created Adam, and Adam was the only one that was different. God created man in his likeness. The Lord created man from dirt. These are two different creation stories, meaning two different beings that were created. And you see how in this creation story, it keeps referring to him as the Lord grew every tree. But we already read in the first part of Genesis that God did all this already. So the Lord is creating their own world. And this Lord did not want the creations to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Maybe because then the creations would know that the Lord was evil. The Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord had taken from man made he a woman. That doesn't sound like God, who created us in his image. The Lord created women from a rib, which sounds a lot like cloning. Human cloning. To clone, all you would need is a cell from the donor, which was Adam. And you would need an egg. Whose egg did the Lord use? Who knows? The egg infused with the cell from Adam, the rib, creates an embryo. The true creator God, and whoever this Lord God is. The etymology of the word Lord means master of a household, a ruler. So that means whoever this Lord figure is a being that God left in charge of man, one who guards. But when you scroll down further under the etymology of the word Lord, you see devil. I cannot make this shit up, you guys. So the devil was the one referring to itself as the Lord. The devil is the one that created Adam and Eve. And when you scroll further down under the etymology of the word Lord, you see to play the Lord, to play the domineer, basically playing God. And then when you scroll further down, it says expressing a state of ignorance. Lord of the Flies translates Beelzebub. Beelzebub was a god worshipped at Ekron. It comes from Hebrew Baal. And what does Baal mean? Lord. This deity, Beelzebub, which might I add, looks like this hideous thing here, is often taken as another name for Satan. Baal, being originally a title, like I told you, Baal means Lord, is the covenant Lord and a god of Moab and Midian. Moabites and Midianites displayed hostility, deception, and intermarriage, which makes sense because their Lord is Baal, Satan. The Midianite daughters, along with Moabite women, were involved in seducing Israelite men and leading them to idolatry, particularly the worship of Baal. And who is Baal? The Lord mentioned in the Bible, the master of the household. The same Lord that formed man from dust. The same Lord that refers to itself as the covenant Lord. So this covenant Lord, let's figure out what that means. Covenant, what does that mean? The etymology is a contract. Now, when you look up the etymology of the word contract and scroll down, here's what it says. In U.S. underworld sense, it means an arrangement to kill someone. What contract is this Lord making with people? The underworld sense of contract meaning an arrangement to kill someone. That's disturbing. This is what contract, this is what covenant means in the underworld. When you think of the underworld, you think of hell. The definition of underworld is the place of departed souls, Hades. When you look up the definition of Hades, you get Sheol. This is what Sheol is. This is the firmament, the moon and the sun within the firmament. This is earth, and this is Sheol. Here's another depiction. The firmament, the dome, and Sheol, the underworld. And the contract of the underworld is an arrangement to kill someone. Sheol is the abode of the dead, meaning the home of the dead. Now, when you look at another definition of underworld, it says earth. Definition of earth, it has the sphere of mortal life as distinguished from spheres of spirit life. I've never heard of spheres of spirit life before. And then I came across this. The 7 spheres are sometimes referred to as the aura of the divine. Humankind can for a brief time inhabit each of these spheres by travel in our higher self bodies. And researching the sphere of spirit life brought me to this image. And you see this mountain in the middle of the earth realm, and in the center, that's where the tree of life would have been located, and that is the way out. But you see, as your soul tries to make its way out, you are met with the moon. I've been telling you guys that the moon is a soul trap. The moon is what causes our souls to reincarnate in this realm. And as you can see, each layer is a different planet. Once you get to Saturn, there's a ladder that takes you to the firmament. Once you break through the firmament, you are in celestial paradise. Here's another depiction of it. When you zoom in, you see Luna, meaning the moon, Mercury, Venus, Sol, meaning the sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and then the firmament. And outside the firmament, you see God, or this depiction of God. So as I'm looking at this image, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers, which immediately reminds me of the 7 chakras. I made a video previously about how this realm wants to keep you in your root chakra. That would make sense because the root chakra correlates with the moon, meaning this realm wants you to reincarnate. Saturn would correlate with the crown chakra, hence why all the celebrities and elite worship Saturn. They are up here about to cross over that ladder while they keep all of you down here. That is the secret, you guys. The Illuminati means enlightened ones. They know this. Jupiter correlates to the third eye chakra, which is why all these elite do this symbolism. This represents the third eye. And as you can see, it also makes a 6. And what is Jupiter? It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th layer. So that is the secret, you guys. They are in on something that you didn't know, but I kind of just figured it out. And everyone that has figured this out flaunts it. They use it in their art. Those who know what to look for get it. This is a painting called Jupiter Painting Butterflies, Mercury, and Virtue. This is Jupiter sitting right here painting the butterflies, and this is supposed to represent Mercury, and this represents virtue. Mercury is right here, number 2. The second chakra is the sacral chakra. Sacral derives from the Latin word sacrum. This is what the sacrum is. What does it look like? A butterfly. So Mercury is the butterfly that Jupiter is painting. That's why Mercury is doing this. That is the secret. And virtue means chastity. Chastity means free from vice. What is vice? Immoral or wicked behavior. So chastity means free from wicked behavior. That is what the virtue represents. And Mercury made it past the moon, made it past the reincarnation. In order to do that, you would have to be free from wicked behavior. Otherwise, you'd come back down here to hell. Another definition of chastity is the state or practice of refraining from extramarital or sexual intercourse. And the sacrum is the location on your body where your genitals are, where you can perform in sexual intercourse. It's no surprise why that is the second chakra. If you are free from wicked behavior, you elevate to the next chakra, the butterfly. That is the secret, you guys.